If I were like to talk like this like the whole time, most of you watching would like be pretty annoyed like pretty soon. But if a few famous people started talking like this on a regular basis, many of you would get used to it in no time. So how many people do we actually need to sway the so-called majority? Does that even exist? In 12 Angry Men, the concept of majority and impacting it is incredibly well depicted. And yes, I'll be assuming you've watched the movie. If not, I'm sorry for spoiling it 68 years later. Come to think of it, should have waited one more year to post this. Anyway, as 12 jurors have the responsibility to decide the fate of a young man accused of murder, we'd expect they all take their decisions seriously. But quite frankly, that's far from the truth. There are barely any jurors giving thought to the case. Already, we can see that most of them don't have a firm belief about it, and that makes them much more susceptible to changing their minds. So when the juror number 8 proposes to give the case some thought, the majority of them doesn't mind it. If a couple of them agree to do it, the rest will follow with little effort spent on convincing them. This is where we can see the illusion of majority taking action. It's a widely known fact that we are prone to losing our identity in bigger groups. You could make up your own examples of that, but if you really insist, if a group of people gathers around a street musician, you'll most probably join them. The performance might be good, might be bad, but in the end, when the musician stops playing and the crowd starts clapping, it doesn't matter what you thought about a performance. You'll be clapping just as hard as everyone else. And in 12 Angry Men, this is presented wonderfully. Basically, the whole movie's about who's gonna clap and who's not, and all the jurors needed were compelling arguments, aka starting claps. Now, what I thought at first is that we might not need everyone to have an opinion about a statement, but a certain amount of people definitely do need to have it to make others consider it. When the juror 8 expressed his doubt in the suspect's guilt, juror 9 had to agree with him, or at least really respect him, to make the other jurors think about it as well. On the other hand, juror 3 needed the support of the juror 4 to get a vote back later in the movie. Logically, this way we could conclude that the so-called majority might not make every person count in it, but it counts enough people to still consider it a majority. However, this is where it gets a bit tricky. And if I already lost you, I'm sincerely sorry, but this is a type of video that encourages your own critical thinking and not just getting manipulated as the majority. Wink wink. So juror 9 had to have his opinion aligned with the juror 8's opinion to change his vote to not guilty, right? But why did he initially vote guilty then? Yep, his opinion did indeed change because it was presented with firm argumentation. That way, juror 9 just became the first person in the majority to show he got persuaded by it. On the other hand, juror 12 got compelled to vote not guilty again after being presented with even clearer argumentation for the opposing opinion. So by boiling it down, we could say that we only need one presenter of each argument to sway a whole heap of people. It's almost as if we're saying that the majority doesn't exist because the odds are always the same to win any debate. Just present clearer argumentation, add some confident gestures, and you're back in the game. Okay, thank you Aristotle for putting all people in one basket and calling them brainless sheep. I mean, is that really what you're saying? Well, there's a lot to be said about that too, but that's not what I'm stating. Evidently, in a political debate, the majority of people has already made up its mind during the years, and no matter how valid arguments a certain politician presents, it'll mostly stick to its opinion. I mean, just look at their votes. But in a situation like in 12 Angry Men, the majority isn't deeply concerned with its choice, so it effectively doesn't exist. Concluding, people aren't sheep, they just don't care enough about many things, and those who do care dictate others' choices a lot more than the others think. Oh, you thought we were done? Without this next train of thought, all this rambling until now would be close to pointless. So if the majority doesn't deeply care about a certain debate, would it really try to deduce which side has clearer argumentation? No, of course not. They'll be looking at body language to see who appears more confident in what they're saying. And the makers of 12 Angry Men are well aware of that. They made both Juror 8 and Juror 3 appear certain of their beliefs, and that made the other jurors take the whole jury a lot more seriously. That's when they started paying attention to what was said. That's also the same reason why we start clapping when we see everyone else clapping, and that's why we agree with whatever we agree with. We seek a symbol of justice. In the end, when things go beyond our rationality, we need to choose what feels right. What makes this movie so ingenious is the way it presents the susceptibility of the majority, and the need to make the right decision to build a better society. It also tackles some other social themes, like doing our jobs conscientiously or swallowing our pride. The movie presents those ideas in a confident, compelling way with clear and logical arguments, making the majority like it. And there you have it in action. To take something from this video, use your brain sometimes. What someone tells you might be intriguing and seem true, but you need to filter it through your own set of beliefs to prove or disprove it. I'm still learning this myself, but hey, isn't it good to have a reminder like that? And isn't it good to make a movie with clever and thoughtful themes, my dear modern TV? Anyhow, for more TV analysis, click here, sub for more content like this, and see you soon.